Hello and welcome. I'm Wick, and today I am back to review the third set of cards revealed for the upcoming Legends of Runeterra expansion, Fate's Voyage Onward. And that's going to be coming out on September 13th, of course. It's coming up soon, so let's go ahead and dive into those cards. All right, so the first card that we have here today, it looks like it is a Noxus card, and that's going to be Hedmistress Telsi. All right. We got a 5 mana Noxus 5/5 epic card that says allied attack and support effects activate an additional time, which is really interesting. We don't see too much reference to support in Noxus, but we do see cards like the quick attack granter or giver. I guess there's also Kato, so being able to double Kato is really funny, I guess. Having the attack triggers double is actually very funny because you're playing this in something with Boom Crew rookies or Annie, and you get those attack trigger twice. I mean, that's actually really cool. It's 5 mana, so it's a little bit expensive for those sort of faster game plans to really get a lot of impact out of her. I don't know. She's a little expensive, right? She's a little expensive. Attack and support effects activate an additional time. I don't know. I saw, okay, so I saw somebody tweet about this before I reviewed, and they posted it with the Marauder, who when they attack they gain +1/+1, right? And so although that would be really cool, I think by by turn 5 you kind of want those Marauders to be having triggered a little bit already. So maybe this, I don't know, this feels like this effect feels like something I want early to have scale with my game plan. But on turn 5, like, unless this card is ending the game, I don't, maybe not ending the game, but like this needs to turn the corner for you, right? Like, this card uncontested is really scary. It does have 5 health, which is pretty healthy. I don't know. I don't think this card's gonna be super good. I think it's fun, and I think that's what makes it bad. Like, this card seems really fun to play with, and I think that it will, like, what if this had Overwhelm? I don't know. I said that yesterday about some cards, and it's just like, just give it Overwhelm. Oh, you want something to be a little bit funner? Just give it Overwhelm. And yeah, that's true, but I'm not sure. 5 mana 5/5. Attack and support effects activate an additional time. Kato is really funny with that. I guess like all you need is for this to go off once and you're feeling pretty good. I mean, she could even probably attack, honestly. Nah, you probably don't want her to get damaged. Like, this is such a valuable engine. Turn 5. Turn 5, end the game in like 2 turns, right? That's what this kind of says. I don't know. I need to go through all the attack and support effects. I really wasn't expecting. Like okay. I guess fundamentally this is a really interesting card, right? Like, I'm really down for another big engine, I guess, in Noxus. That it's an engine that stays on the bench while the rest of your cards have to attack, which is okay. It's reliant on a big board or other units, So it's like it's if you don't have other units and you're not kind of ahead, yeah, okay, there we go. This card feels like a win more card, right? Because it fundamentally relies on you having an existing established board. And most of the times, if you have a board where you'll be taking advantage of this effect multiple times on multiple units, you probably were in a commanding enough position where you didn't need to play a 5 mana 5/5, right? That just doubles those things up. You could have just played probably open attacked at that point or done a lot of other things. Like, this card feels like it is only helpful if you're already in a very dominating position, and I think that fundamentally makes this not super good. Because it's not good, like, maybe if this card had a support effect itself, you know what I mean? that would be interesting. It needs to have something on it. Like by itself, it's nothing. So I think it's too reliant on having a board to be a good card. So I'm gonna say this is probably not very good. I think this is a typical epic card, which is like not. It's a great, interesting, and fun effect, but it's not good enough in the game to be action. So I don't think that we'll be seeing much of the Headmistress, unfortunately, but definitely a fun card. I know there's a lot of people who are excited for it, so yeah, I'm happy for it. Next, we have Lonely Chimeslime, which is a 2-mana 2/3 in SI. That says when another ally dies or last breath, plant 4 chimes in your deck. Oh, interesting. So Shadow Isles gets some chime support, I guess, and the Bard gets a new card. So I mean, this is pretty scary, right? Like it's a 2-mana 2/3. It feels like a scarab on some levels, where you just kind of have this on the back row while your allies go ahead and die. And it also has the last effect, last breath of effect for itself as well. And I think that putting chimes into your deck, in a deck where you are utilizing this card well, right? I don't know, that seems really great. Like this effect and this, like the way that this engine works, where it has to see other allies die, that fundamentally makes it a perfect chime deck, right? Because you know you're going to be playing a lot of units, you're going to be playing a lot of things that you want to die. I could see this slotting pretty happily into any Nasa's deck. I think this is a really powerful card, actually. I think this is a really good card. I don't really think it matters in Bard decks, but I don't know if Bard decks matter, you know? I think this matters in SI decks, and I think it's really scary just as like a standalone Shadow Isles card. It is kind of antithetical, or, you know, opposite, I guess, to what Shadow Isles typically wants from cards, right? And what the region is supposed to do, right? Shadow Isles isn't the buffing region, right? And so to get these +1/+1 chimes into your deck and onto your units, it kind of doesn't really feel in line with what the region typically does, right? And I guess, like, when you think about it, it counteracts itself because it wants to see units die. But if you're buffing those units with chimes, they're gonna die less, right? So maybe I don't know. It's a really funky card. I think fundamentally, buffs and, you know, obviously health and stats are powerful, and we've seen how powerful and obnoxious chimes can be. But I do think that this card, as I mentioned, kind of counteracts itself. But I also think it's such a powerful effect, and it's such a good solid body. It's a 2-mana 2/3, which is solid enough, right? 3 health is pretty good. Like this can block Neela. There we go. Let's go. Yeah, I think this card will see a lot of play. I do think this card will see a lot of play. Maybe this card sees play in Bard. I don't really see it bringing back that archetype in any true capacity, but I do think that this is a very powerful card for time in general. All right, and so next we have Watery Grave. So Watery Grave is a 3-mana slow spell in Shadow Isles, another epic card that says obliterate 6 cards from the bottom of the enemy deck. Obliterate 6 cards from the bottom of the enemy deck. That seems obnoxious. 3 mana, obliterate 6 cards from the bottom enemy deck. Like, in most cases, this doesn't really matter, right? When it comes to cards being in the bottom of your deck. But also, like, if you have cards like Hexite Crystal, or maybe you have a champion in the bottom of your deck and you have ways to draw those, like, losing access to that feels really bad. This card's I first of all, like, look, Watery Grave, right? It's a deep reference, right? You have the boat, sea monster, and all it does is obliterate 6 cards from the enemy bottom of the enemy deck. It doesn't even do anything for you. Like, it should be like obliterate 6, toss 6. You know what I mean? And then it's a deep card, and it helps you turbo deep, right? Like, I don't understand this card. This just seems so boring. This just seems so frustrating and annoying to play against, while also not really being powerful or impactful in any, like, real way. Like, I really don't like this card. I think that this card is just, I don't know. It's not even, it doesn't make any sense in any capacity. And I don't know. This is probably one of, like, the most boring cards that we've seen from all these reveals. This is probably like the, I'm just gonna move on before I keep going and being negative. So next we have General of the Dunes, which is a 4-mana elite in Shurima. So it's a 4-mana 4/4 in Shurima, right? And General of the Dunes says Daybreak in Shurima. Wow, they brought Elite to Shurima, they brought Daybreak to Shurima. This single card has done insane things for the game, just with these 2 keywords being referenced on it. It's crazy. Like, now you can see, like, Leona, Shurima, which sounds gross. Oh, that sounds really scary. Anyways, Daybreak, General of the Dunes, Daybreak, or when you activate another Daybreak, grant the weakest enemy vulnerable. Wow. Whoa, this card is nuts. This card's really good. This card's crazy. Like, now I just want to play Leona and, like, Renekton. But also it's a 4-mana 4/4, so it kind of competes in the spot for Renekton. It's not a terrible stat line, but it's also, I don't know. It's really funny though. It's really funny. I think it's a really, granting things vulnerable is always very powerful, right? And the fact that this thing is not just a summon effect or play effect when you Daybreak it, but it also is an engine for you to just continuously Daybreak and continue to stack those vulnerables onto enemy units and kind of dictate combat. I think this is a fantastic card. I think it's insane that it's elite. I just can't even comprehend what that means. Like, now you can just play this card in elites, right? Granting things vulnerable, which is very powerful for Demacia, and you know, you're not worrying about allegiance anymore. So, like, this is like an elite player out there. I know Marshall out there is just like, I'm gonna play Shurima now. Anyways, Daybreak, or when you grant another Daybreak, or when you activate another Daybreak, grant the weakest enemy vulnerable. I think this card is amazing. Very solid card. Very cool what they've decided to do with elites and Daybreak. I think that's what I'm most excited about for sure. But yeah, General of the Dunes seems pretty solid. Very excited to see how people mess around with that. Maybe if this was a 3-mana 3/3, it would be a little spicier, right? It would curve into Renekton, and that's really crazy. But yeah, solid card. Very solid card. And so for this last one, I'm going to zoom out because just so you can see it. So we have Defenders of the Sundisk, a 2-mana 2/2 elite from Shurima again. And another Daybreak. It says Daybreak, draw a Defenders of the Sundisk. Alright, it's a 2-mana 2/2 that draws itself. I mean, it's like Zenith Blade. That's cool. I mean, sure. It's a 2-mana 2/2 draw. Yeah, man. Sure, it's a deck thinner. I mean, Shurima loves deck thinning, right? It's fine. It's fine. It's another Daybreak card in Shurima that's an elite, and that is very, very exciting. I think these 2 cards open up so much for the Daybreak and the elite archetypes just by existing fundamentally. And I think their effects are solid enough to warrant complete new archetypes to be formed around just these 2 cards. And I think that the developers, mission accomplished. Like, fantastic work. I think, you know, small little things like this does wonders for the complexity of and the depth of the game, and I'm very excited for the future of it. So, okay, let's go ahead and move to the next page. We have another set of cards. Who's this little guy? So we got Slip, King of the Reef. That's so funny. Why'd they have to do that to him? Like, it's, come on. Anyways, Skip, the King of the Reef, is a 2-mana 1/2 elusive in Bandle City that says play. Pick one of 2 non-champion cards from the enemy hand. I capture it. Interesting. Hand capture. Hand capture. I assume that when you know, Skip leaves the field, the capture releases that card back into the hand. I think that's crazy. Like, this is a type of denial that is only temporary, interactable because you can kill the unit, but also like very powerful for proactive strategies. Like let's say that you have the attack token and your opponent has a lot of mana, you just open your turn with Skip, grab a card that would stop, you know, you from doing something like a vengeance or maybe a ruination, you know, and now you have this 2-mana 1/2 elusive. I think this is a fantastic card. I think this card is very powerful. I think it's going to get a lot of hate. I think it is going to be the best hand disruption that we've had in the game that is interactable and fair compared to something like Aloof. I don't know. This is a great card. This is a fantastic card. Very interesting, very fun. Obviously, a 1/2 elusive is decent enough, and the effect is fantastic. You know, you just need this guy to come down, snag something for even 1 attack, one round, 1 action. Like, it's just such an interesting card that demands so much response from your opponent. I think it's great. Also, this little guy has little teeth. It reminds me of Bullywugs with nice little teeth. So, I don't know. Skip is hilarious. I hope this card has voice lines. I really hope this card has voice lines. Please. Yeah, Skip's great card. Great card. Very fun. Very cool. Love it. And so now, next we have Bursting Backpack, which is a 1-mana burst spell. It's called Bursting, right? So it had to be burst. It's a 1-mana burst spell from Bandle City. And it says, for each Bursting Backpack you've played this game, plant 4 chimes in your deck and 4 poison puff caps, in the enemy deck. Create a Bursting Backpack in your deck. So this card is a chime card and a puff cap card, and it is similar to Wildfire in that we see that it generates itself and stacks with itself. These sort of recursive, I don't know if it's recursive, but it's, you know, exponential, right? These cards are going to be pretty scary. I do think that this, I don't know. I also don't know. It's a 1-mana do nothing. I can't really see this being that good. I'll be honest. I think this is strictly worse than Wildfire. Because the damage and the effects that it have are delayed. Obviously the chimes, because it doesn't even say chimes in the top cards, it just says chimes in your deck, right? So those can be anywhere. Yeah, I don't see this card being very good. I think it's funny and silly and cute and adorable, and I do like that, but I don't think it's real. I don't think it's going to be that effective, and I don't think it's going to see that much play. But I think it's fine. I think it's a very cute and funny effect, and definitely it's going to get a lot of experimentation, and I think a lot of people are going to get excited about it, especially the puff cap part. All right, so let's go ahead and move on to Gentleman's Duel. Gentleman's Duel is a 3-mana fast spell for Demacia that says give an ally +0/+2 this round, then it and an enemy strike each other. Mono Fiora support. Look at that. heal and a strike. Come on, like this is sick. This is like a very good spell actually. I think that health is obviously the most important aspect of being able to strike things, and if you're striking something, the best way to win the game is to have your unit stay alive after that strike. So I think that this is it's 3 mana. I think that's very fair. I think this is a good card. I think this is a fantastic card. This is a very good card. This is strictly better than single combat. Is the +2 health this round worth 1 mana? I mean, that is a elixir of iron, right? I think it's fair. I think that 3 mana for a strike and a +2 is really good. I think that Monofiora loves this. I think that Demacia loves this. I think this is a good card. I think this is a good card. I think this will see some play as a good strike spell. I think Demacia has a lot of good strike spells right now, maybe. I think there's a lot of good strike spells in the game at the moment. So, but I think that this will make it up there. And I'm excited to see. I can't wait for Eternal now. Eternal's gonna come back and we'll play this card again, and I'll play some Monofiora and tear it up. You know what I'm saying? I think this is a solid card. Not too crazy, not too exciting, nothing fancy, but I think it's solid. A very good staple. And yeah, I think we'll see it get some plays. So next we have. Let me move over a little bit. Capsize. Capsize is a 4 mana slow spell in Ionia, and it's an elemental spell. Interesting. It says recall an enemy to increase the cost of the next unit your opponent plays by 2 this round. Or sorry. So 4 mana slow recall that also makes your opponent's next card cost 2 more. So you kind of want to play this while your opponent has mana up, obviously, because if they pass, it just this buff or this debuff goes away, right? But I do think that obviously it's a very powerful recall effect, and we see it being used on Leviathan, which is really funny, right? But I think that a recall that kind of stops your opponent from doing further development kind of does 2 things, right? It removes something from the field temporarily and also mitigates your opponent from further development. So a card doing 2 of those things at once, right? This is a 4 mana card. Not bad at all. Interesting, very interesting. I think this card will see play. I think this card will see a lot of play. I think this card's actually kind of crazy. Yeah, this card's kind of a lot of like very crazy. Like you open with this, right, on your attack token, as your first action, and your opponent's turn is like practically bricked. You know what I'm saying? Like they've lost the tempo that they have developed, and they're gonna have a harder time to make, try to catch back up. Obviously, you're not doing anything with this 4 mana. You're just removing something from your opponent's board. But I think this is a very powerful spell. I think this is a very, very powerful spell. And I think that it's going to get... I think this will see a lot of play. I think this will see a lot of play. And I think this is the type of thing that like Ionia really needed. Was ways to just kind of slow down the opponent and interact with the board on a deeper level. I don't know. I think this card is really neat. I don't think I want it to play against it, right? But I also think that this sort of control, mitigation, and delay that's what Ionia does. You know what I'm saying? They've been pretty bad for a while now, so they deserve some love. They definitely do deserve some love, and I believe that is it for the cards today. Thank you again for joining me. Really quickly, we have Hedmistress Telsi, 5 mana 5/5, allied attack and support effects activate an additional time. kind of win more. Don't see it doing too much. Kind of, you know, relies too much on being ahead. So I can't see it be too strong, but we'll see. Hopefully it is. Really fun card. Obviously a reputation buff. Haha. And then we have Lonely Chimeslime, which is a 2 mana 2/3 for SI, which when it dies, it plants 4 chimes in the deck when it dies and when other allies die. Very good card for chime decks, but as I said, kind of counteracts itself a little bit in making its the allies that it's supposed to see die be a little survivable. And then we had Watery Grave, which is just a terrible bad card. 3 mana obliterate 6 from the bottom of the enemy deck. I just really don't like it. I don't find it interesting. I don't think it's fun. I think it's like it doesn't do anything for you, and then it does nothing for the game. You know what I'm saying? Make this toss 6. Make it toss 6 or something. You know, I think that's fine. And then we have these 2 great elite cards. We have General of the Dunes, which is the Daybreak, or when you activate another Daybreak, grant the weakest enemy vulnerable. Fantastic card. And then we have Defenders of the Sun Disk, which is a 2 mana 2/2. When a Daybreaks, draw itself. So I don't know, kind of little fun ways for Daybreak and Elite to enter Shurima. I think that is very interesting, very cool. We do see a lot of these kind of mix matching of archetypes. We have Chimes in Shadow Isles. We have support being referenced in Noxus again. We have Elite and Daybreak being added to Shurima, which is really fun. And then we have the funniest card of the set of this group of cards, I think, is Skip. You know, the 2 mana 1/2 elusive. Pick one of 2 non-champion cards from the enemy hand and capture it. I just think that this type of engagement and this type of denial is sort of what the game kind of needs. It's a little bit more interactive in terms of disruption. So I do appreciate this card a lot. Bursting Backpack, 1 mana, plant 4 chimes, plant 4 puff caps, create another Bursting Backpack, and it kind of grows. I don't know, this card, maybe I'm just too Wildfire pilled, you know what I'm saying, but this one's not super exciting, and I don't think it'll be very good, unfortunately. All right, and then we got Gentleman's Duel, 3 mana fast strike for Demacia, which also gives your unit +2. I think this will be a very strong card, very good combat trick. I love it for Fiora, obviously. Very fun card. And then the last card is Capsize, the 4 mana Ionia Recall that also makes your opponent's plays cost 2 more. All right card. Obviously, not my style, but I do think it's a good card and solid for the region. But thank you again, everybody, for tuning in today. That was all for the card reviews. We'll probably see some more cards being reviewed through content creators, of course. But thank you again for watching the video. Please feel free to like, send me a comment, let me know what you think, and subscribe to the channel. Always helps and it's always appreciated. You can also find me on other platforms. Obviously, I'm on Twitter. I'm also on Twitch, and I want to stream more often. But I'm on every single platform you can imagine. Literally Blue Sky, Threads, Instagram, not Facebook. But every single platform, I'm Wickhelm. So please feel free to follow me on there. I try to post my updates and, post funny stuff on all of those. So any follows and support is super appreciated. But thank you guys so much for tuning in. I will be back next time to review the feature cards, and it should probably be a champion support package. So let's see what we get in the meanwhile. All right, guys, I'll catch you next time. Peace.